Home of rock and roll, I-95 and i95rock.com. Go to our website. It's genius.
She is the lady responsible for at least 15 people a week emailing me, telling me they will never listen to our show again.
No.
Joining the show now from Fox News Radio, Leslie Gold. Hey, Leslie.
Hey, Leslie.
Hey, guys, I had no idea I had that kind of effect.
Yeah.
15 whole people. It's terrible.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I always read their emails and say, hi, Steve.
Well, I feel better now. I'm responsible for 2 segments a week, not one.
Right.
That's right.
So I'm scrolling through my Facebook news feed yesterday, and I see a guy comment, and he says, 3 days to the race war, everybody get your popcorn.
Oh, my God. He may not be wrong.
No.
I know. We could either, from that jumping off point, I can either go to John Lewis or go to Steve Harvey. Where do you want to go?
Let's go. Let's start with John Lewis. Ethan read me a statistic. Do you remember it, about how many people thought it was inappropriate that John Lewis is going to boycott the inauguration?
Right, I forget.
It was high. It was a big number,
listening to?
90
maybe
something.
CNN, but something about 4% said it was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, minus 4, 96%. What? No.
Flip-flop it. People thought it was inappropriate, mostly. That he would boycott.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So just for background, John Lewis is a congressman from Georgia and a guy who marched on Selma with Martin Luther King and was beaten around the head by Alabama state troopers.
Correct.
So as civil rights goes, he's a meaningful contemporary figure in the civil rights movement. So when he said he wasn't going to go to the inaugural because Trump isn't legitimate, it wasn't some backbencher congressman new to the game. Because it was John Lewis, it demanded that attention be paid. And even if you disagreed, paying attention, is, at least in Congress, is an expression of respect for what John Lewis did 50 years ago. So John Lewis says he's not going to the inaugural. By the way, he did the same thing about George Bush. He said it wasn't legitimate either. But now he says
they're friends. They've developed a friendship.
Right. And that's where it should have laid if Trump didn't light him up on Twitter, in my opinion. Trump tweeted that he should take care of his district, which is a real mess, and liberal Democrats who are colleagues of John Lewis, those in, like the Congressional Black Caucus and others, have decided to skip the inaugural, and now it's something like 50 or 60 representatives that are not going. And Trump, in my opinion, should have tweeted something like, Mr. Lewis, I hope to gain your respect as we work together and you get to know me and what's in my heart. Or say nothing. That would be a choice.
Or take a day off and do it after Martin Luther King Day.
Yes.
One day.
Right, but he didn't do any of those things, and now there are some really good seats available at the inaugural. And I think it's unfortunate because inaugurals shouldn't be partisan in nature. It would be very unfortunate if this started a tradition where large blocks of elected lawmakers started boycotting inaugurations. And it's also unfortunate from a let's get something done point of view, because if there's any place where what goes around comes around, it's Washington, D.C. And there's a lot of overlap between what some Democrats want and what Trump wants to do on things like infrastructure spending or getting rid of the carried interest deduction or bad trade deals. They line up on that. So if the Democrats really want to get something done in the next 4 to 8 years, things they supposedly support anyway, it makes it a lot harder to do when you have to work with a president that you gave a big middle finger on the day he takes the job.
Now, Vladimir Putin responding to Golden Showergate, I thought was brilliant. And here's why. Not because he said he thinks it's ridiculous that anyone would believe that Donald Trump would do that, and he's always around beautiful women. Why would he have to pay a sex worker? But the end of his many, many quotes in response to this, I find the most interesting part. He says, I'll just read you this. I find it hard to believe that he rushed to some hotel to meet girls of loose morals, although ours are undoubtedly the best in the world.
That's Trumpian
in
its response, is it not?
It is.
Right? It's like Russia first. I mean, as long as we're talking about, look, I know we're talking about prostitutes, but as long as we're talking about them, Russia has the best. I actually found Putin's reasoning, I thought it had a certain sense to it. You know?
Sure.
Yeah, it did. Not only that Trump doesn't have to pay for it, but the point I thought made some sense is that Trump had visited Russia well before he had any political aspirations, and Putin said it was complete nonsense to think that Russian spy services are chasing around every American billionaire that comes to Russia. And I thought, that sounds kind of true to me.
Now, Steve...
But it's still to be determined who leaked this information, because this dossier with the urination detail in it, has been kicking around for 8 months in the media. I've seen it before.
Okay.
And it was not going to be published unless there was an excuse or a rationale to do it. Nobody could verify any of the information in it. In fact, it contained provable factual mistakes in it. But the intelligence community provided that excuse when they told Trump of its existence. But who told the media that the intelligence community did that?
Leslie Gold, Fox News Radio. I thought we had found the basement, but here we are talking about pee-pee and poo-poo.
It's unbelievable. Did you ever think that you would put urination and the presidency of the United States in the same sentence? It's like penis and blender. They don't belong in the same sentence.
No, they don't.
And Steve Harvey is catching quite a beating. Why don't you tell us about that?
Poor Steve Harvey. The guy's got 3 real jobs. He's got a radio show, The Family Feud, his own TV talk show. The guy is working his ass off.
He's an author, too. He's got a lot of books out.
Right. He's a very hard-working guy. Decides to meet with Donald Trump to talk about fixes for the inner city. Guy's doing well for himself. He wants to reach back. While he's there, Trump talks to him. He also puts him on the phone with Ben Carson, who is Trump's choice for HUD secretary. Apparently, he thought Steve Harvey had some suggestions worth considering. Well, the blowback has been so nasty by the left. He's been called every name possible. He's been called a mediocre Negro by other black people on TV. It's terrible.
That's just rude. He's the best host they've ever had on Family Feud, by the way. Let me tell you what.
For that alone, he should get respect.
Now, let me ask you this. This wasn't in our show notes, so I'm throwing a curveball at you here, but I'm sure you can handle it. Obama commutes the sentence of Chelsea Manning.
Yes.
What did you think of that? It now goes basically with time served. She'll be out in a couple of months.
Yeah, I was actually very, very surprised by it for 2 reasons. First of all, Chelsea Manning's leak was what put Wikileaks on the map. And there's all this hand-wringing and consternation about Wikileaks being involved in ruining the election and all that. Wikileaks wasn't really prominent before Chelsea Manning. Second, Chelsea Manning affirmatively, well, he was Bradley Manning at the time, affirmatively copied something like 750,000 pages and shared them with WikiLeaks. And that information put American soldiers in danger. In fact, the Taliban attacked some American soldiers based on information out of that. So it was a really bad leak. Now, there were other people whose sentences weren't commuted, for instance, that were involved in national security leaks, but they weren't as bad as Chelsea Manning. I think it was done because the Department of Defense has no experience completing the sex change operation, and he's in the middle of it.
Right. One more thing.
What did you think of it?
I don't know. You know what? The WikiLeaks thing to me became so, we were so inundated with a lot of information that I gave up trying to figure it out, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, if WikiLeaks is so bad and their involvement is so bad, why would you commute the sentence, the 35-year sentence, of the guy who helped put it into existence?
One more thing before, and I want to plug your thing here, but one more. What should we all take from Donald Trump and the CIA just not getting along?
I think it'll go away. Mike Pompeo is going to be in charge of the CIA. And, there is sort of this, I don't know if this is true or not, Glenn Greenwald writes a lot about a deep state and, this alternate intelligence unit that keeps presidents in line by what they find out about them and so forth. It keeps a lot of people in line. And, maybe that was true. I think the leak on the urination dossier did come from the intelligence community. I don't think Trump's wrong on that. But I think the issue will go away once Brennan's out and Pompeo's in.
All right. Yeah. quickanddirtytips.com.
Yeah, I've got another column there. I make you smart like 2 minutes at a time, and this time is on how cabinet secretaries are confirmed. Literally, you'll be the smartest person in the room if you spend 2.5 minutes on the column. quickanddirtytips.com.
Check it out.
I got something real quick here. I know Leslie's going to know the answer to this. I've got 4 different names that could be a part of the Donald Trump Inauguration Entertainment Committee. Wonder if you can confirm. Pauly Shore is one of them. The lead vocalist from Kaja Gugu. Dennis Rodman and John Stamos. Can you confirm any of those?
John Stamos.
Yeah. Did you hear that the Bruce Springsteen cover band backed out of respect for Bruce? I swear to God.
Yes, I did. Out of the New Jersey party. Yeah, they're not even at the real inaugural. They're at the New Jersey inaugural party. Every state holds their own local party. And they're not even the real Bruce Springsteen, for God's sake.
We can't even get a tribute band to back out on us.
It's unbelievable. Tribute bands, I mean, they'll play at the opening of a car dealership. Yeah. You know what I mean? For free,
right,
just for exposure, for God's sake.
Leslie Gold, Fox News Radio. Thank you so much for your time, Leslie. Talk to you next week.
See you next week.
Okay, guys.
All right, bye-bye. I love that.
We were talking with her off the air, and we just said, thank God we didn't let you go after the election. She goes, I didn't think we were going to have anything to talk about. Well, guess what? We got plenty.
Every week we'll have plenty for 4 years. It's 8:58. Let's get our last I-95 Leah Honda of Brewster. Right now, traffic update. Hey, Kelly, let's wrap it up. Kelly, let's wrap it up.
Good morning. Brought to you by Hum by Verizon.